y'all, welcome back to Mountain Murders Midweek, the eve of Independence Day.
We're going to blow stuff up.
Or the aliens might land and blow us up. I don't even know at this point. Anyway, happy 4th, everybody.
Happy 4th of July. We hope everyone's safe. You know, at this
to
point,
all of our American listeners, America.
with everything going on in the world, like aliens have missed their window.
They have.
For being a big deal.
It's true.
It really is.
I mean, at this point, they could land
yeah.
and chase us around like the Mars Attacks aliens. And people would just be on their phones, walking through the store, ignoring the aliens.
Yeah, but that's no big deal.
Yeah.
Like, you better watch it. It's violent around here. Alien, you might catch a stray, yo.
It is in our city anyway. How you doing, Dylan?
I'm doing pretty good. There's been some big things happening in true crime news this week. But before we get to that, I got to talk about more of a personal matter. It's something
we always talk about personal matters.
Yeah, it's something that we've experienced a little bit lately, and we had a longer discussion about what happened to customer service and just customer rights kind of in general in this country.
It is so difficult to get anyone on the phone to help you. I'm talking your wireless carrier, your internet provider, your bank.
Yeah.
It's all automated. You're just talking in circles. It's like pulling teeth to just get a representative on the phone. And not to be like xenophobic or anything, but half the time they're obviously a foreign person and English is their second language. And I can't even understand what they're saying. And there's like a communication barrier.
Well, and that's definitely not
which is kind of frustrating.
That's not xenophobic, because if the roles were reversed, if you were speaking their language and it was your second language and they were already in a frustrating situation trying to deal with something, locked out of their finances, their phone, something important, and they've already been given the runaround 7 times and they're already kind of in a mood, and then you can hardly communicate with them or, clearly, communicate with them to help them, they're going to be frustrated as well. So that's not xenophobic.
It's very frustrating. And I have to say, I've had 2 incidents of bad customer service in just the last few days. We switched cell phone carriers.
Right.
And that was, for me, a fiasco. Yours went smoothly.
No, actually, but it did because you tried to do it online because you don't want to talk to anyone. And everything is typically available online.
Yeah, so you order your phones, you order your wireless service, and I'm adding this to our pre-existing internet account. So it's like bundling my internet with this wireless and moving my wireless service over. I pay for the phones online, subscribe, do everything I need to do, get the emails like, oh, you'll be able to pick up your phones in person at the store in the next hour.
Order confirmation number, everything.
Then 10 minutes later, they've canceled my order. And I cannot get a person on the phone. When I finally do, I spent 30 minutes on the phone with a fella, and he couldn't get into the account to figure out what was going on. And I'm like, how do you work in customer service representing this company, but you, as an employee, can't even get into the system to figure out what's going on to help the customer?
Right.
What are you even doing?
Well, yeah. What's the point?
Honestly, why do you have this person working for you if they're very limited in what they're able to do? So I had to go into the store. We had to spend an hour or 2 in the store.
Yeah, so he's like, if you go to the store, I'm sure they can take care of you. You've already paid because they sure took your money in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
You have a confirmation number.
They sure took my couple $100.
Yeah, so you figure I go in the store, they'll look at my confirmation number, pull it up, and say, oh, yeah, sorry about that. Let's fix that for you. We go in the store, and the first thing they say, we can't use that confirmation order number to look that up. We're not allowed to see that information. What? What are you talking about right now?
Once they get our phones squared away, finally, we have to pay another few $100 out of pocket. And in the meantime, being told, well, it could be anywhere from 7 to 14 days before you get your original payment back.
Oh, business days.
Business days.
So it doesn't even count the weekend.
So probably never going to get my money back. And then they give me a phone number with this very strange area code that is not an area code that I recognize.
And they don't either.
And they're like, oh, well, this is like a new area code. This is a brand new one. It's like this overlay area code for this region. And I'm like, okay, I'm thinking this is a little strange, but I'm going with the flow at this point. Get home, nobody recognizes this number. Like, I try to enter it because, when you get a new number, you have to update all of your accounts.
Right.
Everything. Because now you have to do all this, like, third party. Even if you know your password, they want to send you a text and make you go to some authenticator app. I mean, it's just, fuck, dude. Nobody's trying to break into my cell phone account. What are they going to do? Pay my bill for me? Please. Let them break into my account.
It's like the things you don't need security on it have the highest security.
Oh, my God. It's ridiculous.
It's like your fucking streaming app. You got to do 4-step verification to recover your pay. You can go in the app. You're already logged in, and it won't show you your own password. To get into my
car insurance. And I'm like, who's hacking my car insurance? I mean, what are they trying to, they're going to pay my bill? Because what would you even do with my car insurance information? I mean, it's ridiculous. So then the phone number doesn't work. And every app or program, banking, whatever, I try to enter this number and it keeps telling me, like, not a valid number, not a valid number. So then I have to go back to the store, the next day, and go through this rigmarole all over again. And it was so frustrating. And now because I have this new number, I tried to get into my banking app and it locked me out of my banking app. So yesterday, I spoke to 2 different individuals about resetting my information so I can get into my banking app. Both times, they told me they reset my password, told me what they, we reset it to your PIN number. Does not work either time I try to sign in. So it finally, locked me out. So I call again today, and I'm outside when I'm calling. I'll be honest, I was floating in my kiddie pool, just trying to relax a little bit, right? I call again, and this woman is, not proficient in English. I'm having a hard time communicating with her. And then I'm giving her all the information. I'm telling you everything, Dylan. PIN numbers, birthday, address, email address, your information, because it's a joint account. I mean, everything I can give this woman except, like a coochie shot. I mean, I what else do you need from me? Like a nudie pic? I mean, I don't know. And she's like, well, do you have your bank card with you? And I'm like, no, I don't have it on me right now. Well, how about a banking statement? And I was so frustrated, and I never cuss out customer service people. But I was like, what in the fuck makes you think if I don't have my bank card on me that I have a random bank statement on me? I'm like, who carries around a bank statement? Do you carry around a bank statement? Well, and I'm like, I've given you enough information that you can reset my password. And at this point, you're just being an asshole.
Right.
Because who the fuck knows my husband's social security number, his PIN number? I mean, I'm like, I've given you more than enough information to verify who I am. And it's like this bitch just would not help me. So I'm still locked out of my account, and it's a holiday weekend, and I cannot get into my... Now they've locked my card.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I had to use your card earlier, by the way. But now I'm locked out of my account, and they've shut my card off. Disabled my card, so it doesn't work either.
Well, the joke's on them. We don't have any money to move around anyway.
All because I changed my phone number.
Yes. All this to save $40 or $50 a month on a phone bill.
Well, I just don't understand. I have a password to get into my bank account. So when I'm using the password on the website that I've used multiple times, why are you now locking me out? Just because I'm on a different phone. Well, I guess because I'm on a different phone.
Yeah, I guess.
But I have the password. I mean, I just don't understand.
We'll get it squared up, but it's very frustrating. And we were okay, we'll move on. But we were talking about at length. Just there is, and this, I'm not talking about the customer's always right. And
it's just this back to back. I mean, no matter who you call.
Yeah, you don't get to go in and treat people like shit and act like it's your big grand moment because you're at a restaurant or paying for something. Those people are ridiculous. But just there is no more taking care of the customer.
How about just help me out?
Yeah.
Right?
Just help me out.
I just don't understand why I can provide you with 20 bits of information that no one else in the world would have, but you still are going to demand I give you my account number.
I can't even get back into my Spotify premium I paid for gosh, probably 10 years now.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I've had Spotify before Spotify was cool.
Since before we met.
Yeah, I had it for years before that, like a family plan. The kids all had it and stuff. And there's no way, there's no customer call number. There's nothing. I put in multiple requests on help tickets. No answers, no nothing. There's absolutely no one to reach out to for help. It's ridiculous. Anyway.
So this is enough. I guess what I'm trying to say here with this lack of customer service is this is enough to make someone homicidal.
Yes.
And you'll end up on a true crime podcast.
And you will end up on Mountain Murders Midweek with us ranting about the lack of customer service.
Well, everything costs more, but you get less
Yes.
from the company.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
You're paying probably 20 times more than you paid 15 years ago. But when you called 15 years ago, you could usually get a person on the phone who was willing to help you.
Oh, no. And they went out of their way because they didn't want you to like leave them and go to someone else. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. So end rant.
End rant.
Super frustrated.
Get down off your little soapbox, Heather, and let's move on.
Won't.
Let's talk about one of the bigger events this week. The wrap of the trial of the century. Of course, I'm talking about the baby oil scandal.
I was going to say I wasn't in court this week, but what do you mean?
We are talking about the Sean Diddy Combs trial has come to an end. Many media outlets don't know what to do now because there has been wall-to-wall coverage of this minute by minute. And
they've been bleeding this thing like a damn turnip.
Dude, Dateline has been doing like a special 20-minute or 15 to 20-minute coverage daily.
Every single day, yeah.
Daily. So here we are. It's wrapped. And honestly,
you're not surprised.
I'm not surprised by the verdict. I thought it was heading this way. And I got to say, simply because the state didn't prove their case on...
Okay, well, you need to be a little more specific. Because there could be people out there who don't know what's happened.
I'm going to fill them in. I want to do a proper job. The verdict came in, and two of the major charges, the racketeering and the sex trafficking, he is found not guilty.
Not guilty.
Huge deal because you're facing potential life sentences on those. And he was found guilty of the two lesser charges of transporting prostitutes across
state lines.
Across state line. It is the Mann Act, apparently. And he obviously did that with his freak-offs, flying around these well-hung escorts to, service his ladies in front of him. I mean, for lack of a better description.
Dang, somebody got their numbers?
Dude, they were making like $5,000 to $7,000 or $8,000 a freak-off.
That must have been one big wiener.
Well, it was a long-winded wiener, too.
I was going to say, you got a $7,000 wiener?
I don't know.
Is that thing insured?
But so we have to remember, he tried to get bonded out. Of course, instantly his defense team saw this as a huge victory, and they turned around and tried to ask for a bond. The judge actually used the defense's own position and statements against them because they were talking about how we own the domestic violence, yeah, sure, he did domestic violence, no big deal. To say that Diddy poses a threat.
The judge was like, I'm sorry, you're going to have to call the will you get bonded out customer service line.
Yeah, right. Here's your pen.
Press one again. You just keep pressing the numbers and nothing happens.
If you would like to get bonded out of jail after winning part of your court trial, press 1 now. So anyway, they asked for bond until sentencing, and the judge told them hell no. Basically, he still poses a flight risk and a danger to possibly people involved in the trial. Cassie, through her lawyer, passed on a statement saying that she indeed thought he would be a danger to her and other people involved in the trial, and I have to agree.
Yeah.
I mean, look, they've been doing this.
He'll blow up your Porsche.
They have.
And then he'll creep up from behind and take you.
It's funny how they've treated Sean Combs in all the coverage during this trial, because it's really been like, oh, he's, he's so quiet and stoic, and his family's there, and his
mom's blowing kisses.
His mom comes every day and blows kisses. It's like, whatever, dude.
Mom, your son's a fucking monster, dude.
He's a piece of shit, okay?
He's got some issues.
I honestly
think
sex
addiction or something.
I think he's going to get off with even less time than we've thought.
Well, Dylan, I hate to break it to you, but it sounds like he's been getting off.
Okay. Oh gosh. So yes, he's going to get off. I think he's going to get off with. I only think he's going to do with time served because he's been in jail since.
He's just gonna get a slap on the penis.
Last September. By the time it'll be a year almost. By the time they're sentencing, that he's already been in jail. I'll be surprised if he spends another 18 to 24 months in jail tops. That's my prediction. I've done it today.
He'll be back out there drugging some folks and slipping it in them.
And you asked me if I thought
like a little slippery snake.
If I thought he would be welcomed back into the
The fold.
entertainment circles and such. I think maybe not so much in public, but I think behind closed doors it'll be business as usual. And I think he is going to be rewarded in this situation because he has kept his mouth shut. Because we have to imagine that there was way more people involved, way more high-profile people involved in all this mess, and it's basically just been about him and a couple of his exes and some apparently high-quality wiener that was transported all over state lines.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what's up.
How do you transport wiener? I'm just wondering, is it like wrapped up in like a package? Like when it flies, does the prostitute fly in like cargo?
Do you have to check the wiener or is it like carry-on?
Yeah.
Well, it's the Oscar Mayer wiener truck. That's how they do it. They just deliver the wiener.
They have a Oscar Mayer wiener plane?
Yeah. Fly it around.
Jeez.
All right, so the next big one, you want to talk about Brian Koberger?
Well, actually, I want to talk about this very strange, because look, every week it seems we either have a murder beach segment or we have a fast food segment.
Right.
So this is our latest fast food crime. We have to talk about it.
It also involves wieners.
We have to, in fact, it does. Now, Dylan, we have since moved away from Western North Carolina, but that does not stop me from reading the news so that I can find gems like this. A Canton, North Carolina man. See, this is what happens when they close the mill.
This is what happens.
The wieners go wild. A Canton man faces a felony charge after allegedly exposing himself inside of a Hardee's. There's a lot of upset papaws in there who was just trying to drink their coffee and talk to their friends for 4 hours that morning.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is crazy, though. This really is crazy to me.
50-year-old Dana Penland was charged with indecent exposure following the incident. It began when Canton police officers received a call from an employee at the Hardee's, located on New Clyde Highway. This was back on April 5th. The employee stated that Penland had been sitting at a table near a family and displaying suspicious behavior. Canton Police Chief Scott Sluter said, quote, he was sitting at the table and she saw his exposed genitalia with his hand on it. Now, Penland did not remove his shorts during the incident, but he had his genitalia exposed under the shorts.
So he had him hanging out the bottom, right?
He was letting the cow out the barn. The man didn't want to leave the store after being confronted. She asked him to leave, the employee, and he refused to leave. 2 other men who were in the restaurant approached him and confronted him again because, you know, people just in there trying to have meals with their kids and families. And when they confronted him, the suspect finally left. See, it took men asking him to leave before he would do that. He's not going to leave when the woman asks him.
And see, this is small town values right here, because you're not going to do that stuff and just people. I mean, you see these videos like people just acting totally crazy in subways and stuff, and I guess it's just kind of trauma or PTSD from living in a city. People just get out of the way, or get away from them, or try to not look them in the eye. But in a small town, more than likely, someone's going to come and get in your face about some shit like this.
Yeah. So he was arrested. He did admit to being at Hardee's, but denies the allegations that he was whacking his wiener under the table. He was able to post $10,000 bond 2 days later on April 7th. So it seems he does have, I guess, a court hearing coming up.
Yeah, but they're not going to treat this with the severity that I think it entails, honestly. Because we've said it before, This is very, very deviant behavior.
I would have stabbed him with a plastic spork in his wiener.
I guarantee you, if I'd been there with my kids.
Well, I was going to say, if this man was doing this kind of thing in front of my children,
or looking at my children and touching himself,
they would be removing a fork out of the end of his dick hole.
Yes.
Just saying.
I would have went to his ass, and he might have been able to, beat me. I saw the guy. I go whoop the shit out. I'm not worried about that. He's a creep.
That's why I wanted to mention him. His name is Dana Penland, everyone. If you're local to Haywood County and you know Dana Penland, he's a wiener whacker in Hardee's.
What a disgusting creep. And that's deviant behavior.
It's disgusting.
And is very horrible, and he's probably capable of much worse given the opportunity.
Well, let's make him famous. He obviously wants everyone to know he's got a little pee-pee. He get a little pee-pee out. Hey, whoa, look at my little pee-pee, everybody. It's not getting enough attention.
Well, that gives the 2 for $5 sausage biscuit deal at Hardee's a new meaning.
They did have those smoked sausage biscuits for a while.
Yeah, this is a salty sausage biscuit.
It looks like a dirty sausage. Ugh. He looks unkempt.
He is certainly unkempt.
All right, Dylan. Moving along, we'll get to Kohberger in a minute. I'm actually just so tired of his stupid face that I don't even want to talk about him right now.
I am
too. But we will talk about him.
I can't believe.
I have to share this with you because after we've, had the Wiener Whacker, which is a gross story, it really brings the mood down. And then we have Diddy and his baby oil. This might make you laugh a little bit just because it's ridiculous. A Massachusetts man known online under the alias Slimy Banana pleaded guilty to federal charges on Wednesday. 31-year-old Scott Tardy of Holyoke, Massachusetts, pleaded guilty to counts of cyberstalking, providing false statements to the FBI, and obstruction of justice. Now, prosecutors said court evidence showed that Tardy operated an account named Connecticut 12345 on the messaging app Kik, in which he joined an anti-law enforcement chat group. Legal documents identify the person he targeted as an FBI agent who lived in South Carolina with their family. According to prosecutors, Tardy posted numerous messages discussing and soliciting violence against a specific agent and the agent's spouse, and said the victim's employment affiliation was a reason to target this person.
Damn.
But I'd have to give him props. Slimy Banana. It's a great name. It's what you want to cyberstalk somebody with. Tardy also shared photos of the victim's spouse and their location information, and also discussed violence against the victim and their family. Prosecutors said in one instance, Tardy talked about, quote, throwing a Molotov cocktail in their bedroom while they were sleeping.
Damn, this is crazy.
At one point, Tardy asked for the conversation to move to the Telegram platform, where he operated under the name Slimy Banana. Prosecutors said this was done because Tardy thought Telegram was more secure.
See, what's his problem?
Then
he has a direct. Does it say why he hated this FBI agent?
I don't know, Dylan. He continued talking about violence against these victims on Telegram. He discussed what a cartel would do to the victims. He discussed having one of the victims ruined, destroyed, tortured for days. He said burning the house was good enough if the victim was inside. Tardy then shared the location of the victim's home by sharing a map with a pin drop on the victim's street and asked another user how long it would take them to get there. Whack job. FBI agents executed a federal search warrant at Tardy's apartment in February, but he initially denied ever using Kik or Telegram and denied responsibility for the messages. He continued to give false statements in an interview with investigators and caused the phone he used to be reset before exchanging it for a new one.
All while wearing a T-shirt that says
Slimy Banana.
I'm with Slimy Banana. What the fuck?
And then, of course, data related to Kik and Telegram accounts were linked to him. He was working as a corrections officer in Connecticut at the time of these actions. But he faces up to 20 years in prison, and a sentencing date has not been set yet.
Well, I think given the current climate in this country and all the things we've seen, soliciting violence against someone online is certainly a very big deal, because there could be some whack job that takes you up on this, I mean, seriously.
I mean, I was kind of making fun, but this is really scary.
Well,
and to dox
Yes.
These federal agents. I mean, we've seen that happening a bit more, it seems, with some of these federal agencies and law enforcement agencies.
Well, and no matter how you fall on the political spectrum, I think when you take, no matter your issue or what you're protesting or any of that, when you go to someone's personal dwelling and threaten violence online and then show up at their house, you've went way too far, in my opinion, honestly. And I think they have every right to shoot you in the face. I'm just saying, you already threatened them, and now you're at my house. I mean, what am I supposed to think?
Jeez. It's a lot.
Slimy banana.
Dylan.
Make the banana cry?
Please stop. Are you going to tell him the story now?
Well, no. Well, I feel like I'm stealing someone's material because I can't remember the comedian's name.
But you can relay the story because now they're going to be like, what is he talking about?
Yeah. Okay. So I heard this comedian on Sirius XM channel, one of the channels, and he said that he had went to a strip mall masseuse to get, because he'd hurt his back or something, his neck, back, whatever.
His neck and his back.
And he had a show to go to, and he needed some relief. So
from his pussy and his crack. Okay.
He goes in this shady-looking strip mall masseuse. And he said the woman gives him, an Asian lady, gives him a very good massage. He's surprised it works. He's feeling better. But at the end of it, the way she asks him if he wants a happy ending is she looks at him and says, "Do you want me to make banana cry?" And I just thought to myself, that is one of the weirdest, grossest pictures I've ever had in my head, or just turns of phrases. It's horrible.
Do you want me to make your banana slimy? Would that be better?
It's in the same ballpark, but there's something about...
it's totally gross. When you told me, I was like, ew, gross.
Something about banana cry that I just can't get out of my head.
See, I've always thought that was just some kind of
urban legend.
Or like some stereotypical joke, or, just something that was made up. I guess I didn't realize that actually happens. Does it actually happen? I mean, I guess it does, because I have seen news stories, where massage parlors have been busted and there was like prostitution happening there. But I guess I just have a hard time believing that could be going on in like your neighborhood strip mall.
I think it happens, but I certainly don't think it happens at all of them. I think a lot of them are just a straight up place where you can go get a decent massage for a cheap price. But I think hey, just think about the profit margins though. You've already gotten paid for the massage, and for extra $50, I'll make your banana cry right quick.
It sounds like you're offering.
No, I'm just saying.
Dylan's massage services are open for business, y'all.
No. They don't want these calloused hands on.
Maybe they do.
Their little banana.
Maybe that's what they're into.
Oh my gosh!
Working man's calloused hands.
No. What do you got for me next?
Well, I was going to show you my slimy banana. It's peeking out from under my shorts here.
Ooh.
At the Hardee's, of all places.
God.
Can we just talk about like places that maybe you shouldn't expose yourself? Like, I don't want to expose myself in a greasy fast food restaurant, like a KFC. At a booth that's sticky and covered with like grape jelly or something.
So you think there's better places to do this?
Maybe.
No, I think honestly I would feel better about it just walking down the sidewalk than like in a public restaurant.
Just letting it all hang out?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because then you could maybe play it off like you weren't really trying to expose yourself.
Well, you just pull
You were just wearing your Lieutenant Dangle shorts.
You pull your overcoat open. And you don't have
like
any
an
clothes.
old school flasher?
Yes.
Man, I think I've told you the story before, but, I grew up in the inappropriate 80s when people just didn't give a fuck. And one year when I was a kid, I dressed up like a flasher for Halloween and had like a brown, the like camel-colored trench coat, raincoat.
Yeah.
And wore like a wife beater and like some tidy whities. They were like little boys' tidy whities. And then I had on like some, socks pulled up to my knees or something.
Okay.
And just went around flashing people at a Halloween carnival.
They thought it was really funny.
People thought it was funny.
Right.
And now people would be like, oh my gosh, my grandma's in jail for dressing me like this.
Oh, no, it wouldn't.
It was my Nana's idea. And you know which Nana.
Nowadays, people would be like, you can't make fun of flashers. They're people too. Even though it's really gross behavior.
They're just exposure attracted persons.
Yeah, there'd be some weird name for it, I'm sure.
Probably. Here we go, Dylan. This is a lighter story. I don't really know if this is a crime, but it's a crime that I wasn't there to enjoy the moment. Firefighters were called to a stretch of interstate in Pennsylvania after a crash involving 3 tractor trailers resulted in mozzarella cheese being spilled across a 200-yard area.
Oh, my God.
Why can't I be there? You know I would eat the hell out of that cheese. The Snowshoe Fire Company said on social media that the Pennsylvania State Police notified Clearfield County that a crash had occurred at mile marker 145 on eastbound Interstate 80, leaving a debris field covering an area of about 200 yards with cheese.
That's a lot of cheese. 2 football fields of cheese.
Yeah, one of the trucks had been hauling boxes of shredded mozzarella cheese and was split wide open with debris all over the roadway. They had to shut the road down for cleanup operations. The sun comes out, it melts all the cheese.
Oh, gosh.
Can you imagine?
That's not good.
Fire officials said they determined no hazmat response was needed.
No. Now I wonder if that would go bad and start stinking.
Well, they took the cheese to the landfill because the load was deemed unsalvageable due to being unrefrigerated for hours.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's not going to be recovered.
I wish I could have been there.
No, it'd be even better if like the other truck had like chips on it, and then it just would have been like 2 football fields of nachos.
Would you like another good news story before we get back into the crime?
Yes.
This is an Appalachia story for you, Dylan. A Kentucky woman used the numbers from inside a fortune cookie to play the lottery and ended up winning $50,000.
Damn.
Yeah. Lexington resident Kathy Bailey told Kentucky lottery officials that she copied the numbers off the back of a fortune cookie inside her daughter's, inside her daughter's order or whatever, and used those to play a Powerball ticket, place a $5 wager on the Golden Snake Triple Play game.
And she scored.
$50,000.
Well, I remember one time I read this story about, I believe it was Michigan or some state lottery. And all of a sudden they had a super high percentage of winners. And they were, of course, that freaks them out. They have to figure out why. And it was traced back to a fortune cookie. And it had printed a whole bunch of the same exact fortunes and numbers. And it messed up. The machine messed up. And a lot of people played the same fortune cookie number and hit the lottery.
Bailey said that her winnings are going to help plan for the future. She said that her husband is retiring in December of this year, and the extra money will be nice to have on hand. She says, quote, "We've already taken care of our house, van, and truck, so this will just be a nice addition to our savings."
Damn.
Good for you, Miss Bailey.
Look at them being responsible. You know what's crappy is they take 40-50% off the top.
Yeah, well. America, let's celebrate. We love to pay our taxes.
I don't mind paying taxes, but why you got to take so much?
I mind paying taxes. You know why? Because I ain't getting shit in return for my taxes.
Yeah.
Why am I always driving into a big-ass pothole? Where's the infrastructure? Why am I scared to drive over the bridge? I'm afraid it's going to crumble under my car.
Right.
Where's my health care?
What health care?
Well, I can tell you not the VA healthcare because it is lacking. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Where's my free college education? I mean, what are we doing with this money? Because it's not really stuff that benefits any of us, right?
It doesn't seem that way. You certainly don't get any bang for your buck.
Well, I ain't getting shit for my money, so I'm over the taxes unless they're going to benefit me. Are you going to bring a load of mozzarella cheese and drop it in my yard?
I think you're...
Because that's where... Yeah, I'll pay taxes for that.
I think you're more of a librarian on the political spectrum.
I'm a librarian?
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably am. I like to read books.
Okay.
Okay, we have talked before, Dylan. We have discussed the situation in Haiti with criminal gangs. And I think the last time we had this discussion, we were talking about barbecue. We were speaking about the new leader in Haiti, Barbecue.
The warlord gangster guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Haiti's criminal gangs have exerted, quote, near total control over the capital, which is Port-au-Prince, as escalating violence pushes the Caribbean nation closer to the brink, and this is according to UN officials. They are warning the world about it. Gangs control an estimated 90% of Port-au-Prince. That's a lot of the city. 90% of the city.
That's all the city. Let's be honest. The 10% doesn't matter.
Little 10% holdout.
No, it doesn't matter at that point.
Barbecue. Southern Haiti, which until recently was kind of insulated from the violence, has seen a sharp increase in gang-related incidents. And in the east, criminal groups are exploiting land routes, not randlouts. Sometimes I think I'm dyslexic. Including key crossings like Belvedere and Malpass, where attacks against police and customs officials have been reported. So this ongoing gang encirclement of Port-au-Prince and the strengthened foothold in the capital is beyond pushing the situation closer to the brink. I mean, they're saying like at this point, it's almost like so far gone, they don't even know what can be done about it.
Damn, that's crazy.
It is crazy.
I mean, how does it get that bad?
I don't know. I mean, it's just basically a total collapse of state. There's no state presence in the capital. There's seems like no law enforcement left.
They got a Haitian army or some shit?
I don't know.
Or did they all immigrate to New York?
I don't know. But gangs have exploited some of the political turmoil that's been happening there. There's seems like a lot of disorganized security response. So, they don't really have, I guess, mobilized law enforcement like going out there trying to combat this.
No, this is a failed state, and it's terrible, and it's very scary for the regular citizens to be left behind in a place like this.
Then there's also reports of a lot of corruption allegations within the transitional governing bodies, which is also like hindered action from happening because the government's in turmoil there, and it's just added to this collapse.
Damn.
So it's just like ripe for the pickings, bud.
And it's one of the reasons I would be afraid to travel to certain areas in the world,
Well, haven't they recently been warning like Americans and other world travelers about the Dominican Republic because some of the violence is like spilling over into that region as well?
I was going to ask you, that's on the same island, right? Half of it's Haiti, half of it's the DR, the Dominican Republic.
It seems to be the case, Dylan. There is a border on the island of Hispaniola.
Okay.
So the border is marked by rivers, some straight lines, roads, ridges.
And signs that say, don't go over there.
And there has been a recent construction of a border wall by the Dominican Republic. Imagine that.
Okay. Say, I think I work with a guy who said that him and his wife were going to go vacation in the DR.
You did. You told me they were going to vacation in the DR.
Yeah. So I hope they...
Well, I mean, I know a lot of people who enjoy going to the Dominican Republic.
And they say it's awesome and beautiful and all that. So I don't know. I don't know how big of an area it is.
Get to see like big ass birds and shit.
Yeah.
You gonna take a picture with a big ass bird on your shoulder? I would, just so I could feel like a pirate.
Well, it would have to be the stereotypical parrot, the toucan. If you, that's not right.
That's not a parrot, bud.
No,
a toucan is like a completely different bird.
Yeah, the red parrot, the pirate parrot. You guys know,
like a macaw, like a scarlet macaw. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, the pirate parrot. That's what I mean. The one that everybody's seen on pirates' shoulders in all their life.
It's got to be red.
Yeah.
See, now you're like discriminating. What about the blue macaw or the green parrot?
Not my pirate dream.
Speaking of dreams, I had this very strange dream that I was in like a cannibal Holocaust type scenario.
Oh, God.
People were being impaled and eaten. And I was like being led around this like village of terror.
And they were just showing you all the stuff.
Yeah, like, hey, look what we've been doing. Like they were excited about it. Yeah, in the dream. And I was just like, okay, cool.
That sounds like a scary dream.
I don't like the snakes that are in my dream as well. Because in my dream, it was like in this tropical kind of area and there were snakes like hanging from the trees.
Oh, God.
And my concern was more about the snakes than like being eaten by a villager.
That makes sense because you're deathly afraid of snakes.
It was, I don't know, my brain, it never stops.
Why are you so scared of snakes?
I have just like the craziest dreams. I don't know, but
Have it just always been like that?
Yeah, I think maybe in a previous life someone terrorized me with a snake.
You got dropped in like the Indiana Jones snake pit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, or maybe I was in like a Jerky Boys scenario where, I play my little frog, go do, and it bit me in the eye.
Yeah, that reminds me. I saw there was actually a Jerky Boys movie made in the 90s.
Where are my 90s folks at? I know some of y'all remember the Jerky Boys.
And
those CDs like got me through so many rough days, but I used to love those things. I would listen to them all the time.
Yeah, but
to lift my spirits.
I turned to Jerky. You're actually a Jerky Boys fan, which I've never met a full-on Jerky Boys fan like you.
What?
And I turned the movie on, and you're like, I'm not going to watch this shit. And I was like, man, it reminded me that in the 90s, they would totally make a movie out of some little tiny thing that should never, ever be a movie. And they would...
You mean like all those Saturday Night Live inspired films?
Yes.
Like Superstar.
Ladies' Man.
Or the Night at the Roxbury?
Well, that was actually pretty good.
Was it?
I thought so.
Was it?
Well, I thought it was okay for the most part.
Of course you did.
Okay.
Okay, we got to get back into some sad stuff.
Can we talk about Kohberger?
Yes.
Well, I just want to talk about how I can't believe
it's not butter.
That they're letting him get away with this. Honestly, this is not justice, folks. I mean, why they had a...
Well, we should probably discuss what happened because there could be people who don't know. Instead of just jumping into your, I can't believe it just happened. What happened?
Yes, that's how podcasts work.
Explain yourself, Dylan.
Well, they've let him plead guilty, as far as I can tell.
Take a plea.
And taking death penalty off the table. And I'm just like, why are you giving this piece of shit monster an option like that? And more than one of the families of the victims is not happy about this, which I find strange because usually it seems like the prosecution takes the family's opinion of a plea deal or not into account, whether or not they will offer one. And I just don't understand what even is the point of the death penalty if you don't apply it in a case like this.
Well, Brian Kohberger appeared Wednesday in a courtroom, and this was a change of plea hearing before a state district judge named Stephen Hippler in Boise, Idaho, and admitted guilt to all 5 counts in the indictment and entered a plea deal that removes the possibility of the death penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the point?
He had been charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary in Latah County, Idaho. And, of course, these are the fatal stabbings of those 4 college students on November 13th of 2022 in Moscow, Ohio. Idaho, sorry. Ohio, Idaho. I don't know. Idaho. Uaho.
I know you're over this case just hearing about it because they've really squeezed the blood out of this turnip or out of this stone.
I just don't want to have to look at his face anymore.
Well, it's over. He's an idiot.
It's really punchable.
And he's getting away with it. In my opinion, he's getting away with it. A piece of shit like that gets to live. And he's a young guy, so he gets to live for decades, likely, on the taxpayer dime of the people there in Idaho. They're going to have to keep him up.
Well, obviously, the victims' families are not happy about this at all. And I think even more of a blow to these families is they weren't even really informed, like in person, like you would think the district attorney or someone would call them. But they just got this very informal letter or like impersonal letter, kind of like, oh, hey, this is happening.
Wow.
So, I mean, I can only imagine how these people feel. They want justice. They want to have a trial because, certain details may come out. They need closure, and they want justice for their children. And then here we are, like, just going to make a deal with this guy and never get to hear testimony, evidence, witness statements, or maybe even from Kohberger himself. like
Right.
why he did this.
And this has been, what, years later, right? I mean, how long has this been? Forever.
Well, I just said November of 2022.
Yeah, so they've had all this time. They have all this evidence against him. And I don't get, and they always cite cost, right? Well, cost, and we don't want to, then why are we paying tax? This is what taxes are for. Have you ever heard someone, all the discussion about tax cuts or this or that, have you ever heard anyone argue against taxes, tax money being spent to put murderers away or to put them to death? No one ever argues against that.
I don't know, Dylan. I mean, it's just very frustrating, I'm sure, for everyone. And the thing is, this guy has been so stoic. He's never shown any kind of emotion.
No,
ever.
He's a psychopath.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
And they've never found the knife, the murder weapon. And of course, only he knows where he stashed it. And so we'll never know where that is.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're going to put Kohberger and Sean Diddy Combs to bed. No more. I don't know what Dateline's going to do next. Besides leave out a bunch of crucial details in about every case they cover.
What are you talking about? It's the most popular true crime podcast ever.
No, I mean, I listen to Dateline a lot, but they really do. It's funny how much they leave out and how they frame people that do bad things in their podcasts. Oh, they were just a couple of young kids. I don't get it. Tell what they are or what they were doing, what they were doing. That they were pieces of shit, and that's probably why they got shot in the face.
Oh, gosh. Hot take, Dylan.
Yeah.
Wednesday night, 4 people were killed and 14 others wounded in a mass shooting in Chicago.
4 people killed and other people wounded.
14.
14?
Yeah. So around 11 p.m., people were exiting a venue in the River North neighborhood and kind of standing on the sidewalk when a vehicle pulled up and someone in the car opened fire into this crowd. I mean, it's like they didn't care who they struck, and in a matter of seconds, they shot 18 people total. And of course, 4 of those died.
See, I'll be hearing people, I don't know what weapon was used in that situation, but I'll be hearing these people talking about switches. I got that switch on me, and I was finally like, what are they talking about as far as in reference to a gun? Apparently, it's like an add-on that can actually be 3D printed, which is going to mean that it's basically not controlled at all by anybody.
Like a ghost gun.
Like a ghost gun. It's a component that can be added to a semi-automatic pistol that makes it basically spray the whole clip out. Fire almost like an automatic.
Well, the vehicle fled the scene and no one's been taken into custody, but they did recover 2 different calibers of shell casings at the scene. 2 men and 2 women were killed. They were all in their 20s. 14 others were wounded, as I mentioned. Several of those were hospitalized in critical condition. And the victims were all between the ages of like 20 to 30, it seems like. I mean, this just sounds like absolute chaos. A pastor that arrived on the scene said people were screaming. There was blood on the streets. People just laying in the streets. A massive police presence. I mean, more than I've ever seen.
And why?
And it just seems that this club or this venue was targeted.
Like somebody just pulled up and randomly shot this crowd of people up.
Yes. And honestly, I know I sound paranoid and probably a little kooky, but this is one of the main reasons why I'm avoiding like a 4th of July celebration.
Right.
Like I don't want to go to a big public firework display this year or some kind of festival. I know we're having kind of a big to-do in our city, and I'm not going because this kind of thing just happens so often in these big public kind of events.
Right.
That I'm not even going to go.
I just don't. I tell you to go.
And we live in a city with a lot of gun violence.
Yes.
I mean, almost every day there's a shooting, a murder. We live in a very high crime area. And I just don't feel safe going to an event with fireworks and whatnot.
That's crazy. And that's always in the back of my mind, too. And just, I don't want to go around people who will do something like this. This type of random violence is, I think, very, very scary to even think about. And it's like, what do you even get out of that? Anyone can pull up and randomly start shooting at a crowd of innocent people. I mean, honestly, what is that? Who does that?
I don't know. I mean, just to target like a neighborhood or a nightclub where you just know there's going to be a lot of people. I will say, Dylan, that there was some kind of album release party for a Chicago-based rapper, Mellow Bucks, at this event.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not sure if someone had an issue with the rapper, they were trying to send a message. If this is like some gang-related shit, I mean, who knows? It's hard to say. There haven't been really any more details released.
Let's be honest. No hate on Chicago, but just this kind of, not just Chicago, but this kind of scenario, it's more than likely gang related or some bullshit internet beef. And a lot of these young people don't mind unleashing this type of random violence in their communities.
Yeah, I was just reading earlier about an internet beef. Not that far from us, like maybe 30 minutes away, down near where my dad lives. These two guys had some sort of internet beef, and one of them rolled up at the other dude's house with a baseball bat.
Okay.
And then I guess pulled a gun and shot the dude, the victim that lived in the house, but it was all over some kind of like Facebook fight or something.
That's so dumb.
Yeah, I don't remember all the details, but it's just nuts, man.
Well, just even watching people fight and argue on Facebook
or TikTok in the comment. I mean, come on, guys.
And just I've seen people
get so riled up.
Yeah, and you're like really mad about what this random person is saying back to you online. It's so juvenile.
I think it's funny. That's why I like to troll people.
I've never understood.
I like to ruin your day. If you're gonna get that upset, like, you deserve it. Control your emotions. Dylan, we have heard this kind of thing happen before, but a congressional intern was shot and killed in Washington, D.C. on Monday night.
Really?
Yeah. Eric Tarpinian Jakim, a 21-year-old student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, died after he was shot around 10:28 p.m. on the 1200 block of 7th Street Northwest in Washington, D.C., according to police. An adult female and a 16-year-old male were also shot and taken to local hospitals. It seems that multiple individuals exited a car and began firing at a group of people. This guy, the victim, the congressional intern, was not really considered to be like a target. He just happened to be in a group of people.
There you go.
Where someone rolls up and shoots into the crowd.
And that's what I'm talking about, that random violence. It's so scary. You never know when it's going to happen.
It is. So Tarpinian Jakim was an intern for Representative Ron Estes, who's a Kansas Republican. According to a statement from his office, he was a rising senior major in finance with a minor in political science. Of course, his parents are devastated by his death. And I mean, the representative has spoken out about how this young man was so passionate about learning and dedicated to public service. And being able to go to D.C. and work with this representative meant the world to him. And he deeply believed in being able to use his voice and talents to make the world a better place. So it sounds like, this is a young man who is really out there living his dream, just trying to do the thing. Very hopeful for the future, kind of idealistic.
Yeah. And it led to him dying.
It's so sad.
It's very sad.
When this type of thing happens. I mean, just like with this nightclub shooting. So senseless. And I don't know what the answer is to all of this violence. But it just seems like people just don't have any empathy for others or realize when you take someone's life, it's forever.
Well, it's your willingness to do this, I think, is the main problem. Of course, you can say, if we had less guns. But that's been proven in many parts of the world where there are not guns. People will use a vehicle as a weapon instead of a gun. They'll run a vehicle through a crowd. People will take a knife in both hands and run into a crowd of people stabbing everybody. Just a week or two ago, they were randomly stabbing women with a needle. So it's your willingness to perpetuate this violence on the community and the place where you live. That's the problem. That's what needs to be figured out or culled out. I don't think it's so much the thing that you use to perpetuate it. I think it's your willingness to do it that is the problem, and it seems to be more and more common nowadays.
Well, it makes me think of the movie Friday, when Craig's daddy tells him, you need to get a jobby job. No, the part where he's telling them, like, these young men, like, back in the day, you use these when you had a problem, your fists.
Yeah.
And now everybody's so quick to pull a gun and shoot someone, and it's true.
Well, it is.
Nowadays, people are afraid to get their ass beat, but they're not afraid to pull out a gun and kill you.
Right.
And that's fucked up.
Back in the day, two guys would go outside of a bar, or two guys or gals, and scrap.
Or a girl and a guy, because I've seen plenty of women be beating the shit out of some
or
dude outside a
whatever.
bar.
They go outside and fight, and then pile back into the bar, beat up, and proceed to have drinks together.
I'm from the mountains. I've seen some women body slam some little dudes. Some big old cabin girl should take him out.
Oh my gosh! So here on this, as we celebrate our independence here in America, a lot of people calling for, some people calling to boycott the 4th. I've been boycotting the 4th for a very long time.
Not me, baby. I love freedom. Let it ring.
I love freedom too, but I like to love it from my
Woo!
home. No one, if someone's going to randomly shoot me, they're going to have to come in my house. That's the way I look at it. And I've also the crowds.
I just want to arm my bald eagle with guns.
Well, that, of course, if it had arms and guns.
Yeah.
Big muscled up arms.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we hope everyone stays safe, right?
Keep all your digits.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Every year,
somebody needs to charge Terry's wheelchair up.
Every year, people blow their hands off screwing around with fireworks like there are not many explosives, and I've never understood that either.
I don't like to touch fireworks. Like, I don't have any desire to shoot them off. It's not for me.
So you just want to see them?
Yeah, I'll let somebody else go do that. I don't need to.
You're not going to blow your hand off.
No, look, my hands are too cute for that.
That's
they need
true.
To just like rest on pillows.
Put your meat on the grill. Hold your loved ones close.
Wait, which meat?
All the meat.
Don't put your wiener on the grill.
Well, there's going to be wieners on the grill.
Unless you're old Dana Penland. He probably put his wiener on the grill.
And just
put it on that Hardee's grill.
Just love one another. That's our message here from Mountain Murray Studio.
Do I have to love other people?
Yes. Damn it, Heather, play along.
It's really hard.
God.
I don't really have any interest in that.
Okay.
I'll just accept them. I don't need to love them.
All right.
You can't make me. It's America. I don't have to love anybody. Where in the Constitution does it say life, liberty, and love people? It don't say life, liberty, and love, Dylan.
See, you have the freedom to express that message.
It says pursuit of happiness, and my pursuit of happiness is not loving people.
Okay.
Okay? I don't need to love my neighbor.
All right. Well, I'm going to go put this little sourpuss to bed.
Fences make good neighbors.
And
especially when they're really tall and have razor wire.
We'll see you next week with a full episode.
Woo!
All right.
God bless the USA. Are you going to sing with me, Dylan?
No.
I'm proud to be... What if we were in the car, you would bust out some proud to be an American.
I like Lee Greenwood.
I know you do.
'Cause I'm proud to be an American,
where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget
the man that died
and gave that right to me.
So
and
I
I proudly stand up next to you
and defend
her
her
still
still
today.
And I think
Something about I love this land.
God bless the USA.
Toby Keith and the USA. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think we've done enough.
Okay. Well, I thought we should end on that note.
That was beautiful.
It's a grand old flag.
There's fireworks
It's a
going off
high-flying flag.
behind us. If we had videos, you guys could
He's
see
a
all
Yankee
this.
Doodle Dandy. I'm just going to think of all the patriotic songs to sing to you now.
I think you did them all.
Bye.
Bye.